Good morning, YouTube. This morning I'm going to talk to you a little bit about investments and how I look at the different investment categories and whether certain things are a good investment or a bad investment, and maybe a little about the circumstances where they might be good investments for you. There are certain ways that I look at things. Before we get into that, like and subscribe the video and my channel, and my purpose is to kind of just teach you about investments, the things that I've learned over the years. I've been investing probably 25 or 30 years, and I'll say that probably the last 11 years I really accelerated my results through things that I learned, through people I exposed myself to, and just some things that I had to acquire along the way by analyzing the situations and determining the difference between how I thought things worked and how they actually worked. And so I'm going to get right into this. Today we're going to talk about Newton's first law, and don't be scared. It just says that objects in motion stay in motion. It talks about objects at rest stay at rest. Objects in motion experience friction or loss as they're moved. And the difference between not motion and motion requires work, and work is just force over time. And so understanding that helps you understand why someone with no momentum continues to have no momentum. The only way to get over momentum is to apply work to the situation that you're in, and to apply work in a way that starts building momentum, and the momentum has to overcome the friction. And so we're going to talk about investments and things you can use your money for in light of those circumstances and understanding. So let's talk about the home you live in. There's a lot of debate about your house and whether it's an investment or not. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about your job, stock purchases at work where you can get a deduction to buy your employer plan, health savings account, your 401k, rental house, people say it's a good investment or not, a business, separate stock. I have Home Depot stock I've told you about. How does that affect things? Land, and like an index fund like VIG that I have. So first, the house you live in, what does it provide you? The house you live in provides you shelter. Okay, and people say it's an investment. And so to determine it's an investment, let's take it to the logical circumstance of extreme. If you 10x your house, what does it provide you? Shelter. Okay? Only shelter. A 5-year view of your house might say, if I buy a house and I ignore all the circumstances of the house for 5 years, what is the net effect of that house? Compared to not buying a house, a reasonable house might be lower shelter expense. Now, if you 10x your house, you're not going to get that lower shelter expense necessarily. But we'll come back to this category on a house, but a house provides you shelter. 10 times a bigger house provides you shelter. If you take a 5-year view on it, meaning you put the money in, you buy the house, you experience everything you experienced for 5 years. After 5 years, what situation you're in? You're in a house, a shelter that probably costs you less than the rent costs you at that point. So that is the benefit. So that's my 5-year view. A job. What does a job provide? Well, you provide a job time, and a job provides you with, I'll say, work, or we'll say income. 10x job provides you with 10x income. That is true. My 5-year view on that is, if the job that you are in is specifically building you skills or making you into a better person, then your 5-year view would be about those skills and the person you're going to be after 5 years. So, who will it make you? That's what you will look at a job. Who will it make you? What connections will it give you? After 5 years of been experienced, what will that situation be? Your stock purchase at work. What does it do for you? Well, it takes work. Or it takes income. Okay? 10x effect is it takes more income. My 5-year view on this, well, you do the stock purchase plan, you do it for 5 years, and then what do you have? At that point, you really don't have any income, but you do have capital to use. So is capital good or bad? It really depends, and we'll come back to that. Health savings account. This health savings account, what does it do? It provides you medical expenses. What does it do at 10x? At 10x, it provides you medical expenses. The 5-year view on that would be, if you run this HSA plan, you don't touch it, you just let it run for 5 years, you end up with capital to use. Your 401k. 401k is for retirement. Okay? You 10x it, you have it for retirement. 5-year view is after 5 years, you have it for retirement. Rental house. A rental house is a complex thing. People ask me if a rental house is a good investment. Okay? And the answer is it depends. A rental house can provide you income, or it can take income. 10xing that same situation can provide income or take income. A 5-year view on a rental house is that it can do either one. A business is complex. A business can provide you income, or it can take income in any circumstance. Okay. Home Depot stock. Buying Home Depot stock provides you a dividend or ROI. And I'm just going to say an ROI because however a company returns the money they make to you, it's a return on your investment. And that means that it could be dividend, it could be stock buyback, could be they just reinvest it into the business directly. You know, that's what it provides you. At 10x, it provides you the same thing. 5-year view is after 5 years of holding the stock, it still provides you the same thing. Land could take or create income for you in any circumstances. VIG income index provides you dividend or ROI. Now, let's go back and just look at this from a wisdom standpoint. And maybe we can put some circumstances to help you understand. Well, from a wisdom standpoint, if you're very, very new to investing, you don't know which circumstances of rental houses or businesses provide or take income, you getting into these things can be a positive or negative. And so what I direct you to is generally here. Okay? You've got these two investments on the scene that give you a dividend or ROI to help overcome this momentum state where you're in a zero state. I recommend generally, due to risk profile, this one here. So let's say you start that. Of all the other ones, this has the lowest risk, lower than Home Depot stock, and the circumstances to create momentum of this investment are the easiest to create. They're the easiest. They take the least skill. So if you have no skill about investments, then this one is the circumstance that is the best for you to start into to build momentum. Okay? So wisdom here is this is easy, requires no skill, and creates momentum. What percent of the time? 100% of the time. Okay? This makes this a perfect investment for a new person. All right? Now, the home you live in. You look at someone that has a lot of money and you notice they live in a bigger home. So you say, I must should live in a bigger home. That's what they do. That's what I'm going to do. Well, your home being bigger does not make you more money. The situation where your home you live in can be an advantage to you is two. Number one, you can have leverage. Okay? You can take a loan out against your house to do certain investments. When you learn how to invest, where it's beneficial. Second, it can be a hedge to inflation. Okay? You own your house stays up with inflation. You don't lose as much money to inflation, right? The third thing it can do for you is if it is paid off. If it is paid off, it can save money on rent. You don't have a rent anymore. It creates cash flow because you're not paying that rent. But that's not a 10x house. That's a paid off house. So leverage, inflation hedge. Keep getting my H wrong. Sorry about that. And if it's paid off, then it can create a reduced expenses. Okay? So if I got that on the sheet. Not much. So here, then last, I'm going to say the net effect is reduced expenses. Now, that is if you buy the right size house, not too big. You don't try to 10x it because that didn't have a bigger effect. Let's talk about your job. 5 years of your job. You've been in your job, you worked 5 years, you can create a couple things. Skills is one thing that you can get from your job. Another is contacts, people that you know, networks that you're now in. And another thing it can provide you is, I don't want to say income because it's not ongoing income, but maybe just maybe we'll just say leverage it. You can leverage your work. The income that you make, you can put into investments. You can take on debt because you have income, so it can provide you leverage. Now, leverage can be a bad thing if you don't have the skills to know how to do the investments. It can be a good thing if you do. Stock purchase at work. All right, it takes income. 10x takes more income. Provide your view as a capital use. What essentially is your effect of stocks? I would say it was my source of capital to invest. So when I learned how to do rentals, for instance, I used this money a lot of times for capital to invest. Now, you could say dividends and things, but that really doesn't provide you any income. It's not coming back to you. Health savings account. Health savings account at this point provides medical, but ultimately, in the end, after 5-10 years, what do you have? You have medical for retirement. If you didn't spend it, now your medical expenses, which is a big risk in retirement, is there. And so medical retirement, and I'm going to say risk reduction, because it reduces your risk of not having money in retirement. You look at 401k, retirement. After 5 years of retirement, here it is. I'm going to say it is retirement. And risk reduction. Now, is it bad? No, you might need money in retirement. But if you think this is going to be the source of capital for your investments, that's not really the case. Now, a rental house. Let's talk about a rental house here. You buy a rental house. You buy it with a loan. The payment on the loan is $1,200. You're making $1,200 in rent. Now all of your expenses and taxes and property management are coming out of your pocket, and it can be a negative. Under what circumstance does wisdom operate? Well, number one, you can have positive cash flow. Okay, so that means if your mortgage is $800 a month and you're doing $1,400 a month, you definitely have positive cash flow. The second thing you can do with it is you can have leverage. You can take out a loan against the house and give yourself capital for wise investments. Now, if you're doing unwise investments, then this can be a negative, but I'm going to say leverage it can provide. Besides positive cash flow and leverage, you can also buy under value sometimes. So if the house is worth $120, you buy for $100. I would say that provides you a risk reduction. So anytime you can make an investment, it's worth $120,000 for $100. It's a low risk investment. If you have a positive cash flow, you have the ability to leverage and a low risk investment, that can be a good thing for your portfolio. Business. A business can take income. It can provide income. It can do it ongoing. It can do it not ongoing. Which one is it? Is it good or is it bad? I would say the probably truest view of a business is that a business is not a category. It's not a category. Business is not an investment. It's not a non-investment. It's not a category investment. A business is just an entity that exists. So if you go create an LLC, you have a business. But what that business is really depends on what it actually is. And so if you're going to look at business as an investment, you need to understand what it is. So, for instance, if it is a service business where you take your time and you sell your time and someone provides you that service, that's what a job is. So if you have a business doing it, it's still a job, which is okay. You have an LLC doing it, it's still a job. Now, if you do provide your time and they pay you less than it costs you to do that, that is still a business. It's just a bad business. Okay. Lastly, you could have in a business and have someone else run your business and then hand that off and have that as an income source. And that's what people dream about. But that's essentially the same thing that Home Depot stock is. You're buying a piece of a business. If you can do that at an advantage price, then that's a great thing. If you do it at a disadvantage price, it's probably a bad move. But I would say this business is really not a category you can analyze. And anybody that really says, I want to create a business, is really not talking about what they want to talk about. They're really talking about a dream, or I have this concept of working for myself, or I want to treat people right. And there's no circumstance for that. The circumstance for that becomes you take a something you're doing to make money, then you encapsulate it in processes and create an LLC. Now you have something that you can analyze. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a business. I might come back here and say a sales business, okay? So, in a sales business, it can provide or take income, that's right. So the circumstance where it provides income is profit higher than expenses. Okay? So, boom, you have a business. The profit's higher than expenses, and you're getting income. Okay? 5-year view is you're getting income. Now, what's the residual on that income? Is it work? Most businesses are basically the same as a job. It's just something that you're trading your time for money on. A rental house really can be almost completely outsourced. Home Depot stock provides your dividend ROI, dividend, your dividend payments, and the real thing on here is this. This definitely creates momentum and can provide capital for a better investment if you have a better investment. Land. Land for a farmer, rented to a farmer at lower than expenses, can provide you profit. So on this, your income on the land exceeds expenses. Okay? So that's just a view that I have on investments. And I'll show you the bottom there. This is the way I kind of look at the different categories. And so when someone comes to me and they basically say to me, hey, is this a good investment? My answer is, it depends. It's not a good investment if what you're looking for is momentum and capital. It could be a good investment if you can buy it below value, if you can have a positive cash flow on it, or you have a good investor and can have leverage against it. Those circumstances might create it as a good investment. And so, a particular area is not necessarily a good investment or not a good investment. It's just depends on how you execute on that plan and what you're looking for. If you're looking for the ability to retire, your 401k is a great place to do it in. You're looking for the ability to provide medical expenses in your retirement, your HSA is a great place for that. But if you're looking to build wealth, if you're looking to create momentum, if you're looking to have capital to invest, then you want to stick with investments that create those things. A rental house can create those things, Home Depot stock, VIG, and focus on building that momentum to allow you to do bigger things. Now, I will mention one last thing is generally the way I make a decision on one of these investments or not is not only what does it provide, but how does it affect my freedom? How much time does it take compared to what I want to give? How much does it allow me to leave? How much does it bind me? How much does it give me money income? How much does it reduce my risks? And those type of things. So right now I'm kind of in a risk reduction mode because of expenses. And so I'm looking at a lot of things. If I bought a rental house, it'd definitely be way below value for risk reduction. My 401k, I'm still doing that. Health savings account, still doing that. And I'm doing some Home Depot stocks in VIG, but really not as much. I'm more focusing on some risk reduction things. But hope this was valuable for you, and I definitely know it was too long, so sorry about that. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.